Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Coach Red, where we bring you all the news, stories, takes, and opinions about your favorite teams from the Pacific North, fresh from the good to the bad to the Mariners.
To your gold glove winning Mariners, baby.
Talk about that
At
in
a
a
different
later
date.
episode,
But hats off to Demo and Cal Raleigh.
especially Demo. Especially Demo. But we will be talking about your middling Seahawks right now.
Your
Just
fourth place Seahawks.
all major Seattle sports teams outside of the Sounders just rocking it really close to that 50%. And it's a little infuriating, but guess
It's
what?
a lot of infuriating.
Guess what? We're going to talk about it through all the highs and the lows. But before we do that, why don't I tell you a little bit about us? If you're looking for a guy who is going to razzle and dazzle, maybe even give you a breakout performance like my boy JSN did for my fantasy team and your Seattle Seahawks yesterday, you're looking for someone like that. You're looking for a guy like me, your boy Coach Red. You can find me on X at the Real Coach Red, on Instagram at the Real _ Coach Red, TikTok at the Real Coach Red. Also find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, leave a comment or two. And if you're looking for a guy that just celebrated a birthday
That's right.
and he's getting older, maybe he's over the hill, like maybe Geno Smith? Question
Hey,
mark. I
sure.
don't know. We'll have to see if the proof's in the pudding. We'll see if he wrote back or if they hit return to sender. We'll find out on this episode with Cain.
Yeah, I'm Kane. You can find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. False. Do it. Frickin' do it.
All right, the Seahawks lose to
They
division
did.
rival Rams 26-20 in overtime. Let's break it down by quarter. Zeros after the first. Late in the second quarter, the Rams kick off the scoring with field goal. 51 seconds left. The Seahawks hit Tyler Lockett. Geno Smith hits Tyler Lockett for a 30-yard touchdown pass. Missed the extra point due to heavy pressure, where if he would have kicked that thing true, it was going to get blocked. And then the Seahawks scored again 46 seconds later on a 24-yard touchdown pass to JSN. The Seahawks got a little quiet there in the old third quarter. Marcus Robinson, 1-yard TD pass from Stafford. Joshua Kelly. That doesn't make sense. Oh, Cardi. I was reading Kelly. I was like, that's a running back. Got to read my own writing better. 31-yard field goal. A 103-yard interception referring to return for a touchdown by Cameron Kitchen. And JSN scores with 51 seconds left on a 14-yarder to put this game into overtime. And the Seahawks lose on a 39-yard bomb from Matthew Stafford to DeMarcus Robinson for his second tutty of the game.
So you're gonna have to be more in depth about the first quarter than me. I did not witness the first quarter. I was asleep on the couch. I woke up as soon as the second quarter started.
First quarter, I mean, the first half until the last minute and a half, 2 minutes of the half. It's pretty lackluster. A lot of self-inflicted wounds. You saw Geno Smith taking his eyes off the ball in the first drive. Ball bounces off of JSN for an interception. And when you look at this game for how poorly it seemed like the Seahawks played offensively by biting themselves in the foot and
Mm,
all of
mm.
these different things, 7 sacks, they outgained the Rams.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to what the Seahawks did defensively. But we'll touch on that here in a minute. Let's go into some stats. Geno Smith, 21 for 34, sacked 7 times, threw it for 363 yards. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 2 interceptions, not totally on Gino, the one that bounces off JSN. Then another one where he's trying to throw the ball out of the end zone, arm gets hit, kind of flutters, that goes to Cam Kitchens. Last one,
All Gino.
all Gino. It was bad.
All Gino. He threw
Ah.
it right to Cam Kitchens. Threw it right to him. Like he
When
was
you're
trying to check down to AJ Barner and
when you
he
when you do
didn't
that
even
and your
spot
guy
it
gets
down.
held up, you throw it at his feet, not where he's supposed to be.
Or down the field and out of bounds.
No,
Right?
he was still in the pocket. He had the pressure. What you do is you throw that at his feet and you live to play another day.
Right. But Gino just has this problem where he can't get rid of the ball. He just can't get rid of it. He's on 11 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the year. Completely horrendous.
That really discounts the 7 sacks. I think that he didn't hold the ball relatively long. They got bit by some bad holding penalties. When we get to the receiving yards, I'll talk about it there. The stat that kind of caught my eye is I did not think that Kenneth Walker got 25 carries in this game. It didn't feel like it. He averaged 3.3 yards carry, 83 yards, one run for over 10 yards. Gino clocks
Yeah.
in with 6 for 16, and Charbonnet 248. And when you really look at this, none of Gino's runs were on quarterback designed runs. So when you really look at that, you're looking at 40 dropbacks to pass and maybe a few more because you got to count those sacks in there. But it's getting closer. You're bridging the gap between being so heavy pass to so heavy run, but they did not do a very good job
At scheming runs,
at
it
really
seemed.
developing this. They started off heavy with the run and they hammered it late in OT. And you saw some good things come out of that. You saw some better things come in the screen game where it wasn't just wide receiver screens,
I
bringing in the running back screens, which I thought
mean,
was,
Sharp had a couple good screens in there, or at least the one good one.
yeah. And K9 had one that I thought was going to bounce for a little bit more, but
Yep.
ended up, uh, no, he did. He got like 18 yards in OT.
Yeah.
Um, let's go to where the big boys play. Wide receiver, no DK Metcalf in
Oh,
this game, no Noah Fant in this game, but
Noah
JSN
Fant hurt us. Being out, that
seven
hurt us.
7 catches for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 2 more catches for about 79 to 80 yards called back due to holdings,
Yep.
and he could have had 9 catches for 260 yards.
This
Bonkers.
this game, JSN put on a clinic. Oh boy. It was so fun to just see him win every single ball. It was fun.
Tyler Lockett is your second leading receiver, 3 catches for 63 yards. Next guy, Cody White, practice squad call
Dude.
up, 2 catches for 44. AJ Barner, 4 for 27. Zach Charbonnet, 2 for 25. And Kenneth Walker, 3 for 24.
White, that was a fun little flair piece on the game, right? Just seeing him like out there. I feel like that was a little fun spice because you didn't really get the ball in Bobo's hands at all. So you had to
No,
get it in somebody else.
yeah, you threw
Um,
it at him a couple of times, but it just didn't really
right. And then
find
it
him.
didn't seem like LaVisca Chenault got very much run. We've talked about Derek Young for so long. It was kind of weird not seeing him out there unless he was hurt. But White had a little sizzle in him.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a PI called on him that wasn't a PI, and he makes a nice play late in the fourth quarter,
Mhm.
keeping the feet in bounce on
Yes.
a ball that he did not think was coming his way at all. So that was nice to see. But two things, JSN, we talked about it after
Amazing.
week 2. This is his true coming out party. It seems like Gino was looking for him all the time. And the one thing that has been concerning for me a little bit outside, well, there was a lot of Gino working the hard count and getting a free play. And that's where you saw some of these big gains go to
Yep.
JSN and the touchdown to Tyler Lockett. Um, just saw the guy come offside, ran a go route, ends up
Beating
basically
him.
being wide open because the Rams DBs thought that every time that they encroached on the defensive line that the play was going to get called dead. It seemed like throughout the entirety of this game.
Yeah.
So if you take away that one catch from Tyler Lockett, he clocks him with two. In the past 2 weeks combined, Tyler Lockett has 4 catches. For a team that is missing DK Metcalf, for how big of a security blanket the Tyler Lockett has been for years, it's weird that they aren't feeding him the ball a little bit more.
Right.
Just
It just seems on a week by week basis if Tyler Lockett gets the ball or he doesn't. Um, the one thing I did like about JSN is his routes were clean, and the one thing that they accounted for is letting him go more than 5 yards, letting him get to that next higher level and let him run his routes. And when your offensive line did hold for you, or when you did have that broken play, he outpaced every DB that he was on. Most of his catches, he was wide open. That touchdown he had early, triple coverage technically around him, and the little island he was on, Gino hit him, right? And then later in the game, he hit him on a good over the shoulder catch that I enjoyed a lot. The one, and then the one in OT, right, where he came around, called for the block. Dude was absolutely lights out.
yeah, he's feasting. And I want to say, welcome back to the Seahawks defense.
Oh, it was
They
fantastic.
they got one interception, 0 sacks, which I thought they should have had a couple sacks, but they
Should
did
have.
force Stafford to throw the ball away quite a few times. Top guys, Terrell Dotson, 9 tackles. Ernest Jones, 9 tackles. Good to see out of your 2 starting linebackers.
Yes.
Devin Witherspoon, Julian Love clocking in with 7 and 6 tackles apiece, which I thought was good because you haven't seen Spoon as involved and not making those highlight plays. To see him getting in the mix a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
and showing up with 7 tackles, good thing to see. Next guy that also clocked in with 6, Byron Murphy. Man, Byron
Dude, he was
Murphy,
a madness.
yes. And a couple of pass defenders. Let's find Witherspoon had 2 in the game.
Who had the pick? It was
Peak was Reek Woolen, and
yeah, Club Reek, baby. But I got some bones to pick with Reek.
nah, dude, just let it be. Let
I'm
sleeping
not.
dogs lie.
I'm
Um,
not.
but for all those things, when you look at this as a whole, this was a game where you really look at it without the pick six. Defense gave up 19 points in this
Yep.
game.
Yep.
So they did enough to win you the game. That's for sure. And the offense played very well in the 2 minute drill again. And we've seen that a lot this season. And I would implore them to use it a little bit more early in games and sprinkle it in a little bit more because that's where they have been the most effective when they are putting pedal to the metal.
Yep.
So, Kane,
Um,
who was your offensive player of the game?
I mean, it's plain and simple. It is Jackson Smith and Jigba. What he did this week. I mean, I was asleep for his first catch, but when he caught that little screen, I liked the little route he ran where he kind of zigged and then he zagged back in behind all the offensive linemen, and he broke 4 tackles
Mm-hmm.
on the run. There's something awesome to see from him, and it just kind of continued throughout the game where every DB, and they're pretty decent DBs, right? They're young and quick, but to see JSN beat his one-on-ones, get open in the zone coverage, it was a treat to see, and I really hope that they can keep this going forward when DK is back after the bye. Coach Red, who's your offensive player of the week?
It's only JSN. And
That's
I touched on it earlier. I mean, the 2 catches that he had that were called back due to penalties, he almost had 260 yards. That is bonkers. He averaged 25 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns, 46 on the long. Like he was slicing and dicing. What a game from JSN. All right.
It was time. It was absolutely time.
I expected a little bit more last week with DK being out, but it was really good to see it come to fruition this week.
Yeah.
Kane, who was your defensive player of the game?
I'm gonna have to go with the new boy, Ernest Jones, this week. I think he played a fantastic game. You could see during some plays he's getting up to the line of scrimmage. He's telling the the line basically like, "Hey, giving them some insight on everything." You could see how he is naturally gravitating towards the leadership role of this team. It's something that this team needed, right? Ernest
From the middle.
Jones,
From the
right,
middle. Yeah.
right. But I think as a whole, this team needs a voice in the locker room defensively, and Ernest Jones is going to be it. Um, he has taken command. The dude seems like he's in on every play, right? I see him flying around, still leading the team in tackles along with Dotson. The two are an absolute threat now. So Ernest Jones played amazing. Coach Red, who's your defensive player?
My defensive player of the game is Kobe Bryant.
Ah, that was my other one. I
The
love
reason
Kobe
it
Bryant,
is
dude.
Kobe Bryant is for one play. And it was the third down play at the end of the fourth quarter where he comes and flies across, balls into Marcus Robinson's breadbasket, and he dislodges the ball from him. A flag gets thrown
Oh,
for unnecessary roughness, which I thought was it's a defenseless receiver. How are you supposed to tackle a guy if the good thing was his head was up? Robinson was falling towards the ground and he still managed to hit him in the chest area, not the head and neck area, and that was picked up. If he does not make that play, the Rams are kicking a game winning field goal in regulation.
yes.
If he leads with his head, the Rams have a little bit more time and they've got the ball in fringe field goal position. That's what made this game go to overtime to give the Seahawks a chance to win the game. So for me, it is
It's
Kobe
fair.
Bryant.
Dude, Kobe has been playing very well, playing for Rayshon Jenkins. I have really enjoyed seeing him out on the field. Um, his IQ just seems to be getting him better every week out there. Kobe Bryant should get way more playing time on this team.
All right. Well, let's talk about next week's opponent. Oh, wait. We have
There's nobody.
we have a bye week, which I'm excited about. I need a little bit of a break. I need a whole week off from watching Seahawks football. I need to re-energize and feel better about this team. I need this team to get healthier. After the bye, you should be getting DK Metcalf back. You should be getting Noah Fant back. Abe Lucas has a chance to play in this game. I wouldn't be shocked if Chinyu Nwosu is back sooner than later, getting back into the fold. So getting this team healthier, I think, is going to be key.
Yes.
But they're going with the bye. We're going to throw this back to NSYNC, a little bye. And we want to see some playing time diminish for some of the players on the Seahawks coming out of the bye. And I think the offense is going to be a little bit spicier. So we're going to start on the defensive side of the ball. And Kane, who is your defensive player that you would like to say bye to a little playing time?
Trey Brown, dude. He
He's going to lose the minimal playing
just
time from the last handful of weeks coming off injury.
dude, I'm just not happy with his play at all this year. Um, when he's been on the field, he's kind of been a liability in that slot position that they play him in.
He doesn't play in the slot.
They've been playing him in the slot.
No.
I just don't like what I see from him. The tackling's not happening still. Uh, he was having pass deflections last year. He's getting beat on simple routes. Um, the guy's just not covering as well as I'd like to see. And a player I would like to see more playing time when you get kind of everybody as healthy as can be, right? Is more Joe. I really enjoy seeing what he's doing out there. Um, and possibly, when if Hardy Burns gets back, I would like to see him on the field a little bit more too.
That stunk, dude.
Whatever, dude.
That
I
stunk.
am just
I would say that Trey Brown had an absolutely poor performance against the Giants. I think that was his worst game of the year. Then uh, it was either early in the Niners game or in that Giants game where he got banged up. I'm not sure if he's completely healthy again. Yes, I think the competition should have been opened up slightly, but you're forgetting Nehemiah Pritchett. Josh Jobe has done okay at best. I think that Trey Brown gives you a higher ceiling, and I'm
sure.
hoping that he was just a little bit banged up and can come back strong because when he's been on the field for the Seahawks, he's been a relatively productive player out at the corner position.
Mhm. And honestly, when Rayshon gets back, I think Kobe Bryant's earned more playing time as well.
You
But
just think that all these players are playing in all these places. When Trey Brown was starting, Spoon's playing in the slot. So when Rayshawn Jenkins comes back, it's either he's playing or Kobe's playing. There's
I
nowhere else to
know,
put him
I
unless
know.
you got a heavy tight end game where you wanna rock with a three safety look in your nickel and dime packages.
Fair. Coach Red, who's your defensive player?
I was talking to some people earlier, and I was thinking about going with Jonathan Hankins because he's profiled coming into this year as heavy run stuffer. They haven't done great against the run. He hasn't missed time. Um, maybe getting Byron Murphy on the field even a little bit more or letting Cameron Young eat a little bit more now that he's back off IR. But I did not go that route. And I'm going to bring it back to Coach Pete, where I hope Coach Mac Donald will sit there and open up the competition a little bit. And I would love to see a guy maybe not start in the next game. And it's a guy that's played pretty well this whole year, but it's Tyreek Reek Woolen.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's my
let's
guy.
get
I get a
into it.
start. So shut up. God.
I'm here
Oh,
for
it was
this
my
one.
birthday. I'll just overtake everything. This isn't your present anymore.
Sure, dude. I wasn't taking
So
over.
Reek gets the pick early, which I think was great.
Yes.
Gets a PI later in the game that kind of hurts you in the first series, first little part of the drive and overtime. He's sitting there waiting for the ball to come.
Yeah. Waiting.
And then what is it? Ty Johnson or something flashes in front of him and makes the catch.
Yeah.
He comes and attacks that ball.
It's another
Might be
pick.
going pick six.
Yeah.
And then
And then on that same drive, correct?
yeah, it's the last play of the game. Everyone's saying that it's going to be run. The announcers are calling it. It's perfect time to throw a pop pass and over the top gets beat by DeMarcus Robinson, which DeMarcus Robinson, speedy guy. But
But he still could have made a play on the ball.
well, I mean,
There
Reek
was
wasn't that
time.
close.
He was locking arms with him in the end zone.
Yeah, he caught up right at the point of the catch, but he was making up a bunch of ground. He was not in phase
It's
on that.
ridiculous.
And I
It's
think that
ridiculous.
like Reek has played relatively well all year when he's been on
Yeah.
the field. He missed the game due to injury, but he's been playing relatively well. Kind of a good bounce back from last year. But him getting complacent in the key times, it's just where is that killer instinct for this team? No one's going to give you a win in the NFL. You got to go out and you got to take it. And
Hmm.
when you look at that third down pass or first down, third down pass, whichever down it was, where he was just waiting for it to come with him. Well, the Rams went and took it.
Yeah,
And if he
exactly.
comes and makes a break on that, it might be offensive PI or it might be a pick. At worst case,
Like
it's a pass deflected.
he takes 2 steps and he's got the ball. Maybe even 3 and he's gone because it was thrown on a dart.
And
Like the
and he's
effort
cutting
from
across, so if
him.
he jumps in front of that route, I don't think he's getting tackled.
Yeah, it's just the effort, honestly, from him lately. It's not been good.
Yeah. It's unfortunate to see, especially with a guy that coming out of his rookie year felt so highly about, a little bit of a dip last year and then bounce back. But this is a game where he could have really put the nail in the coffin, and the crypt keeper came for him.
Yeah, I
That's why I
like
wanted
that
to hold
one.
off on talking about Reek until later. I had some stuff to say.
Oh man, dude, it's just been so annoying. Like, yeah, that PI call was horrendous as well. And just
Speaking of annoying, let's talk about the offense. Kane,
sure.
who is your offensive player that you would like to see some playing time go away from?
Anthony Bradford, dude. The amount of holding calls this guy gets called for.
All penalties. I think he leads all guards in penalties, and I think he leads all guards in
Oh my
sacks given
God.
up.
It is so bad. As you said, 2 penalties that happened in the game for JSN's 70 plus yardage, right? I'm fairly certain both of those were holding calls. One of them was. Um, and Bradford, I saw his name flash on the screen
He was
way
one
too
of
many
them. Mike
times.
Terrell was the other.
It was way too many times. Uh, he does not need to see the field. He is not very good at his position. I get he's raw and he's got upside out the ass. Um, but it's not there, Chief. And I don't think he needs to be on this field. Christian Haynes needs to get a little bit more run. But he also has not been very good. So you really don't know what else you kind of do at this point.
I mean, with the penalties and the sacks given up, I'm not going to say that I'm a master of deciphering what the O line is doing on every play in the NFL. I'm watching the O line on every play. But to me, it seems that when Haynes is on the field, they're being a little bit more beta offensively when he's been on the field. They've been able to move the ball down the field a little bit more efficiently when he has been on the field. And it's tough. It's a really tough spot for them to be in because their offensive line as a whole hasn't been playing super well this year. You hope that you get the Abe Lucas effect when he's been in the starting lineup, even when they've had subpar, when he was fully healthy his first year. It's not like they had studs on the interior that year. And the line was still not great, but wasn't as bad as they have been last year and this year. So I think that having him being a little bit of a stabilizing force and getting some more of these guys in there that have the acumen, get that continuity build up, hopefully be able to make a little bit of a push here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean they need something because this week to week flippy floppy stuff that they're doing is not it. I'm not having fun. Uh, so what's next, Coach?
Sure, I'd love to tell the viewers of my player that I think should lose some playing time. Thanks for asking.
Oh yeah, Coach. Which offensive player should lose some playing time?
Farrell
Sorry,
Brown. This was
he's
a
yeah.
head scratcher at the beginning of the year. You saw AJ Barner getting a little bit more play time, and you also see them even with a healthy Noah Fant. Brady Russell's kind of playing that H back fullback. Yeah, I know that Farrell Brown's supposed to be a superior blocking tight end, but it's not like the run game, especially in the last handful of weeks, has really gotten that loose. And when they have, he hasn't been on the field. So you see glimmers and a lot more potential from Barner. So when Fan is healthy, I'd like to see Barner in the lineup a lot more than I'd like to see Farrell Brown.
Yeah, like every time I've seen Pharaoh Brown try to block somebody, he's getting pancaked, it seems.
Yeah. Not the best money spent, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it just makes me wish that our good old buddy Jack Westover would be healthy and just get on the practice squad.
Get that call up, baby. All right. Last thing we're going to talk about in this episode
Oh, yeah.
is the Geno Smith question. He came out, apologized, put the game on him, said he made the mistakes. Granted, I can give him one blatant, just super, super terrible. The other two, not so much. Hasn't had a great line, but you are coming to a crossroads and you hear guys like Richard Sherman who and Tom Brady that say Geno Smith is a starting quarterback in this league. He's above average starting quarterback in this league. The mistakes have gone up. He's passing the ball a lot, and a lot of that isn't necessarily just the victim of play calling. They've been down. They've had to pass the ball a lot more. You've had to
Yes.
conserve time. The line has not been great, but end of the season, you have to choose if you are going to take that option. You've got Sam Howell that's waiting in the wings, who has this year and next on his rookie contract. You have a lot of people this week that have put out there the old statement by John Snyder that says, I don't believe in paying interior offensive linemen. Well, he hasn't been drafting them very well, and these 1 year stopgap guys hasn't helped. So the big thing is, I want to see some tape on somehow in this Seahawks offense just to see what our steps are going forward. Because if
Yep.
you pick up Geno's option, you're sitting there and basically living what you have on the interior offensive line. It might not get any better. And then you're kind of hamstrung with the dollars. With Sam Howell, you've got him still on that last year of his rookie contract. You can build up a little bit more, go spend out a few more dollars in free agency, and
Yep.
could potentially be in a bigger spot. And Geno has had his ups and downs. It's not all on him. I will say that. A lot
Yeah.
of time he's making chicken salad out of chicken shit. But you have to be honest with yourself and go, where are the Seahawks really? If they are going to be a playoff contending team, because we've seen glimmers in how they've played close games against quality teams. Have the 49ers been the most quality? No. But the Broncos are playing better than anyone anticipated. And they win that game in a close one. The Rams finally get healthier and are a tough team. They're right there with them. Have they had some stinkers? Sure. But they also went toe to toe with the Lions for 4 quarters. So
Mhm.
it's time during this bye week where you're not going to give up on the season, but you also have to be looking towards the future. I don't know what
Yes.
that looks like going forward.
Yeah, and today I was talking about it pretty heavy with some coworkers of mine, and I have one in particular that has been, when you and I had the conversation earlier in the year, I brought it up to him. He's like, no, no, Gino's a starting quarterback, but after this week, he's like, I think the conversation needs to start because I mean, as I said earlier on this episode, right? 11 touchdowns to 10 picks. And agreed. Like a lot of those picks I have discredited,
I'd say
but
4 are not on his shoulders. At minimum 4, maybe 5.
also just like I get that he gets pressured a lot, and I just have a gripe about him holding the ball a little too long or trying not to get rid of it instead of getting the sack, right? Um, there's been just a lot of weird stuff that's happened offensively this year. But there's a lot of decision making that Gino's done on the year has been very horrendous. And yeah, I mean, Sam Howell's gonna chuck the ball. I think he's got a better arm than Gino does. Um, but he also gives you more mobility.
He
And
does.
that is something that is really hurting us because, I mean, Lamar hasn't had the best offensive line for the longest time. They've had a pretty good line, but, whenever you have pressure, the guy runs and gets around everybody. We don't have that. We have Gino, who is kind of quick, but he can't outrun guys. And I think you just need a little bit more speed
Yeah,
back there.
Howell does give you a little bit more athleticism. He is a younger guy too, and you saw that. I would venture to. I think that Gino probably throws a better ball than
I'm sure
Sam Howell,
better. I'm sure a
A-
better ball.
and I think that he does. I think their arm strength is pretty similar, but we did see Sam Howell have a ton of touchdowns last year and a ton of interceptions. He's kind of where Gino is right now, leading the league in passes, completions, yardage. Like Sam Howell was right there last year. What I do think, if you make the move to Sam Howell because of his proclivity for turning the ball over last year, I think that inherently brings you closer to that 50-50 run to pass, because
Yeah.
I think that you do not want to put the game solely on his shoulder. You will see more play action pass. And I think that you will get a lot closer to 50-50 in the run and pass with that, because you're trying to limit his ability to turn the ball over. Has Sam Howell last year made some amazing plays? Yeah, we witnessed it firsthand. Sam Howell was dealing against the Seahawks, and he does a better job, I think, when he's in scramble mode on hitting his running backs and tight ends than Gino does. Gino typically tries to push the ball a little bit further downfield and a little bit more into harm's way. So I think that if you do decide to make that move, you're doing it as a look to the future and trying to really get to what McDonald wants, which is a balanced offense and a gritty defense. Being able to eat up more clock, have longer sustained drives, also keeps your defense fresher. And
Yes.
when you look at this game as a whole, outside a couple of botched snaps, not by that I mean Gino taking his eyes off of the ball, and a huge 103-yard pick six. Seahawks outgained the Rams in this game,
Yep.
and that's even with those negative plays. Like, the Seahawks did enough to win this game defensively, and I think if you give them an extra minute or two on the sidelines, it could be beneficial in the long run, especially as we go down this stretch. And you do have a lot of tough
Tough
teams that you will
matchups.
be facing up against, and it's a soul searching week. You come into this on back to back losses, one that you were never competitive in, and the second one that felt like you snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. And there's going to be a lot that goes on between that week. I think that they need some time to get away, to reset their mindset and come out
Yes.
strong,
I
because
mean it.
you come out of this and you're facing the Niners. The Niners have a game this week. They just came off their bye this last week. You're going to have Christian McCaffrey back, but there's no Brandon Ayuk. I'll be interested to see how this pencils out for the Seahawks. And you really need that defense to be flying, getting turnovers, sacking the quarterback. They're still pressuring the quarterback at a high rate. I want to see them get home a little bit more, but I think offensively is where this offense has to help out the defense.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the constant three and outs has got to stop. They got to figure it out. Um, it's been really hard to watch. Even when they Atlanta, you felt great after that win. You're just like you went into their house and you did business, right? And then the next 2 weeks are just on, as you said, lazy practically against the Bills. You saw nothing worthwhile in that game. And then you come to this and it's just decision making from Gino sometimes. Reek Woolen, not taking the initiative and going after the ball. Um, they got to get better at decision making. And I think Coach Mack really has to deliver a good message, right? Trying to bring them back together because it's really dysfunctional right now.
Well, and I think the decision making, yes, but it's like going and taking it and realizing what you need to win the game. For Gino, throwing the ball out of bounds, throwing the ball at someone's feet is a little bit better than kind of just flipping it out there. He's done it a few times this year. Reek being a little bit more aggressive. If Reek goes and makes a play like Kobe Bryant does, we might be celebrating a win here, right? There are some
Mhm.
guys that are going out every play and it's full effort all the time. And you need to see that consistently. And that's what the Ravens have done for years. And I think that's what McDonald is trying to bring to the table. But you also have to look at this. There's two guys that really have familiarity with him. And it's Jay Harbaugh and Leslie Frazier, your special teams coach and your assistant head coach. Mike McDonald, first year head coach. Arden Durde, first year defensive coordinator. Ryan Grubb, first year offensive coordinator. You're going to go through your lumps. The
Mhm.
typical first year head coach wins 6 games. Yeah, there's anomalies that put him higher, there's ones that put him lower. Well aware of all that. He's already at 4 wins. You feel optimistic you're going to get to 6. This is a team that could and should still compete for a playoff spot. And if they get hot at the right time and they start clicking, this is a team that could do damage in the playoffs if they
Yeah,
start clicking at the right time. But they've
I
got to
agree.
get there. And to get there, you've got to take care of business during the regular season.
Yeah, and you know, it's gonna be tough because you have 49ers, Cardinals, Jets, the rest of the NFC North.
The
And I'm not
Jets.
saying the Jets. Their defense is still pretty good. But then you go NFC North and all of those teams are kind of in the mix right now. Uh and you have to go up against tough defenses the rest of the year and the pesky Cardinals. And
First place Cardinals.
yeah, first place Cardinals, and then you end the year with the Rams. It's gonna be a bloodbath. But they do need to really figure it out and have a good reset on the season after this week. And you kind of need to get like if they continue to throw Gino out there, hopefully this bye week helps him get right. So fingers crossed, I guess.
Yeah, we can have our fingers crossed that you'll give us a follow over on social media. Find me, your boy, Coach Red, on X at the real Coach Red, on Instagram at the real underscore Coach Red, TikTok at the real Coach Red. Also, find the show over on YouTube. Search Kicking It with Coach Red. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, and leave a comment or two. Kane, where you at?
Find me over on Twitter, Kane2406, TikTok, Kane0624. Also follow the show's socials over on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Red Pod. False. Do it, freaking do it.
And as always, stay fresh.
Stay fresh, peeps.
Peace.